Why did Bang Si-hyuk cry silently after seeing what Jungkook did to Taehyung on the plane? Is this the end of Taekook as we know it? Or is it precisely the beginning of something much bigger? The moment Taehyung's nose bleeds in Jungkook's lap not only shocks the world, but also opens up old wounds, new conflicts, and a love never described in words. What really happened in the sky that night? Bang Si-hyuk is crying. Jungkook did this unexpected thing after Taehyung had a nosebleed on the plane. The dark sky over the Pacific Ocean that night holds a story that is more than the transfer of two world megastars from South Korea to the United States. At an altitude of 35,000 feet, while all the passengers were asleep or busy staring at their entertainment screens, a small, but very big, moment for the Army world suddenly happened and changed everything. A 21-second video recorded by a passenger secretly in the middle row of a business-class plane immediately spread like a storm after being uploaded to a fanbase account. In the video, BTS's Kim Taehyung, V, is sitting on Jungkook's lap with a tired expression and hands clutching tissues. But what shocked everyone and sparked a surge of discussion on social media was the red tinge under Taehyung's nose blood. The question now is, why would an artist as powerful as Taehyung bleed in mid-flight? What really happened between him and Jungkook before, during, and after the incident? And why was Bang Si-hyuk, the founder of HYB, seen in tears in a short video that circulated just an hour after the incident? It is these questions that now haunt millions of fans around the world. But before answering everything, let's go back a little, to the point where all this strangeness began. After completing their military service with honor, Jungkook and Taehyung joined the rest of the members on a flight to Los Angeles, where they were scheduled to begin work on BTS's latest album, an album that promised to be an unprecedented return. However, instead of a grandiose arrival and full of press welcome, both became the main topic due to an unexpected private moment and looking very vulnerable in front of the public. Many thought the video was just a joke between friends. But the expression on Jungkook's face, who wasn't laughing as much as usual, described something deeper than just a joke. His hands were clasped tightly against Taehyung's back, as if he didn't want to let the man fall or lose consciousness. His face turned toward the cabin crew, and his lips moved, whispering something inaudible in the video. Some witnesses said Jungkook looked like he was holding back the panic. One of the flight attendants, who was later interviewed anonymously by Korean media, revealed that Jungkook immediately asked for ice cubes and a clean cloth while calling Taehyung's name several times in a hoarse voice. He never looked like that before. It was as if the world stopped for him during those 5 minutes, he said. What makes a man's heart as strong as Jungkook's as fragile in that moment? Why isn't she ashamed to let the world see her most emotional side, which is usually hidden away behind the stage, the camera, and the spotlight? Even more shocking, not long after landing at LAX airport, Bang Si-hyuk appeared on an internal live broadcast that was leaked to the media. In the now viral footage, he says in a trembling voice, "I think I'm ready to see them again. But I'm not ready to see them destroyed like that." And after those words, he wiped his eyes. Why would a CEO, known for being so assertive and untouchable, look so emotional because of a moment on the plane? What does he really know, which is not yet known to the public? This story continues to grow and grow because Taehyung's nose bleeding cannot be ignored. Many fans speculate that it is caused by changes in air pressure, but some others pointed out that Taehyung looked pale even before boarding. A fan with the account at CookieFacts uploaded photos from Incheon Airport showing Taehyung slightly bending over as he walked, while Jungkook turned to him several times with an anxious look. Does this mean Taehyung is hiding his health condition? And if it's true, why should he hide it? Is it because of the pressure of a busy schedule after the draft? Or is it something much more personal, something that only Jungkook and Bang Si-hyuk know about? Conspiracies also arise. Some call this incident the result of emotional distress after an internal drama that has not been completed since the time of military training. Some have speculated that the intimate interaction on the plane was not just a moment of chance, but a symbol of a more complex and deep relationship between the two, something they have never really spoken about publicly. Meanwhile, the Taekook community, a collective of fans who believe in the special closeness between Taehyung and Jungkook, is rumbling again. Many rewrote their stories in the form of fanfiction, turning them into heartrending dramas of love, tragedy, and sacrifice. But one thing is a big question. What did Jungkook do after that incident to make Bang Si-hyuk cry? Rumor has it that Jungkook refused to rest at the hotel upon arrival in LA and immediately drove Taehyung to the health center in a private car, without bodyguards and managers. It was even rumored that he canceled an important meeting with the main producer in order to accompany his best friend. Is this just an ordinary form of attention between groupmates? Or is it a love story that has been hidden behind the scenes? One thing is certain. The world is now seeing a new side of their relationship. A small moment that may be only a few minutes, but whose effect resonates long in the hearts of millions of people. And is it Si-hyuk? He has not issued any official statement since the emotional broadcast. But HYB's internal sources said that she was deeply touched by Jungkook's dedication and felt as if seeing his children hurt in front of him. Is this the beginning of a great conflict to come? Or is it just a fragment of a friendship story that is too deep for the outside world to understand? The answer may still be flying through the air, along with all the feelings that never got to be said. A few hours after the viral moment spread, the mood of the Army fandom underwent a drastic change. From the enthusiasm of welcoming the comeback to the darkness, full of worries. Major fanbase accounts from Korea, Japan, the Philippines, and Brazil reposted footage of the bleeding moment, complete with analysis of Jungkook's facial expressions, Taehyung's hand gestures, and every second of interaction that took place on board the plane. However, what makes this news so much more than an ordinary health incident is the fact that many believe that there is something deeper hidden. Questions begin to arise, not only about Taehyung's health, but also about the emotional connection between him and Jungkook. Why is Taehyung sitting on Jungkook's lap? Is it because the seating is limited, or is there a psychological reason behind the comfort? Is this a reflection of their closeness that not everyone understands, even by fellow members? One of the fans sitting in the back 2 rows on the same flight said that earlier Taehyung looked a little shaky as he walked to the toilet, and Jungkook caught up with him shortly after. A few minutes later, they returned to the chair together, and that moment was the beginning of the incident. If it is true that Taehyung was already experiencing symptoms before the bleeding, then this is not just a nosebleed due to air pressure. It could be a sign of extreme fatigue, or something more serious. Concern increased as HYB's side remained tight-lipped. No official statement, no clarification. Even BTS's social media accounts only repost old photos as a form of welcome for their comeback, as if trying to distract from the chaos that is going on behind the scenes. But the public cannot be lied to. Even the reporters started asking the same thing. Why is Bang Si-hyuk crying? What does he know that we don't? This speculation was reinforced by an unverified report from a former HYB staffer who mentioned that during his military service, Taehyung had undergone additional medical examinations due to complaints of sudden dizziness that were not explained to the public. Although the report has not been confirmed, many attribute it to a sudden nosebleed that occurred on board the aircraft. Even more surprising was Jungkook's response after the incident. A hotel staffer in Los Angeles, where BTS is temporarily staying, leaked that Jungkook came with Taehyung soaked in the night's rain, carrying a plastic bag filled with medicine, warm towels, and snacks. He didn't speak a word. His face is flat, but his eyes are like those of a person who has not slept 3 nights, the staff said. Was Jungkook's act purely out of concern as a best friend, or was there a greater emotional burden? Even more dramatic. According to another internal source who was within HYB's practice room at LA, Jungkook reportedly exploded in anger during a training session as several managers discussed their comeback without alluding to Taehyung's health condition. He punched the wall. Not because they blame Tae, but because they ignore him, the source said. He said, "If you think he can keep working in these conditions, you don't know him. And you don't know me." The words left a mystery. Has Jungkook been harboring anger against a system that constantly pushes them to keep going, even when their bodies and hearts ask for rest? Another question arises. How do the other BTS members feel? Did they know Taehyung's condition before this incident? Does this create internal tension amid the euphoria of the comeback? Jin, who is known as the oldest member and big brother figure in the group, only posted a heart emoji on Weverse after the incident. The leader, uploaded a piece of instrumental song that sounded melancholy without any caption. Suga has yet to comment, and J-Hope was only seen liking a few fan posts without giving a statement. Jimin? He became the only member who did not show his presence on social media after the incident. Some speculated that this was because he was accompanying Taehyung personally, while others suspected he was feeling emotionally shaken. Then, how did the public see the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook after that moment? If earlier, Taekook was just a seasoning for romanticizing fandom, now the world sees it from a different point of view. More real, deeper, and more touching. It's no longer about the chemistry on stage or the looks in your eyes backstage, but about a silent embrace in the middle of the night sky, between the sound of jet engines and suffocating fear. Many netizens wrote that it was only this time that they felt they really saw their relationship as human, not just an idol. And ironically, that's what makes everything feel even more emotional and touching. They hold back their tears too often to make us smile, wrote one ex-user. But today, we cry with them. However, behind all this, Bang Si-hyuk's one sentence in the leaked video still continues to ring in many people's heads. I created them for the world. But today, I ask myself, is the world already too cruel for them? What do those words mean? Is this a sign that HYB is starting to realize too much pressure on BTS? Or does he feel guilty for letting the children he raised become victims of their own success? Those questions don't have definitive answers. There were only tears, worries, and hopes. Hope that Taehyung will make a full recovery. Hope that Jungkook will not shoulder this burden alone. The hope that BTS's comeback will not be a stage of suffering wrapped in glamour. And the hope that, perhaps for the first time, the world can see them not as K-pop gods, but as ordinary human beings who can cry, can be fragile, and can love silently amid unseen turbulence. As the incident, which should have remained a private moment at thousands of feet. Altitude, spread, and set fire to cyberspace. One thing became increasingly clear. It's not just about health. It's about the system. About pressure. About 2 young people who have paid too much for a dream that demanded to be perfect every time, and the public did not remain silent. Hashtag Protect Taehyung and hashtag We See You Jungkook became global trending topics in just 2 hours. Tens of thousands of messages from fans, public figures, and even fellow idols began flooding social media with one voice: stop excessive pressure on them. But it is precisely in the chaos that one bigger question arises. Will BTS's comeback go according to plan? Or is this incident a tipping point that makes HYB have to rethink the way they treat the humans behind the BTS brand? According to information from inside HYB obtained by South Korean media, BTS was originally planned to shoot the first MV in LA just 2 days after landing. But after Taehyung's bleeding incident and Jungkook's apparent emotional reaction, the schedule was reportedly reviewed. In fact, the director of the video clip, who had uploaded an Insta story on the set, has now deleted all digital traces. What the hell is going on? Is HYB afraid of public pressure? Or do they realize that the health of members is more important than the schedule that has been prepared for months? Even more surprising news came from a well-known music producer who has been working behind the scenes on BTS albums. He said that in recent weeks, the pressure on the members to show the best version of themselves has increased dramatically. Everyone wants this comeback to be perfect, not only as BTS's return, but as a symbol of the K-pop industry's revival post-pandemic and post-military service, he said. But despite all the pressure, Jungkook was the last wall standing. He is not only the main vocalist or an outstanding performer, but is now seen as a protective figure who is willing to sacrifice anything for the sake of those he considers family. One small but meaningful incident occurred the day after their arrival in Los Angeles. Some fans photographed Jungkook coming out of a small pharmacy in the Koreatown neighborhood, wearing a gray hoodie, a mask, and carrying several packs of plaster and supplements. No staff, no camera, just him and silence. What makes a world star willing to walk alone to buy his partner's health needs? The same answer began to emerge from various emotional analyses, because Jungkook never saw BTS as a group. He sees them as his family. And Taehyung is probably his most fragile and most beloved part. The moment on the plane is not the moment of the show. It was a flash from voiceless love, from hidden wounds, and from true power born not from the stage, but from empathy. But that power also has limits. According to a recent report from a music correspondent at the LA Times, Jungkook declined an exclusive interview session citing, "Mental state is not interview ready." That sentence shocked the media team, who thought BTS was always professional and ready to perform. But this time, Jungkook chose honesty. In fact, he is said to have had a dispute with some of HYB's internal documentary crew who wanted to record all the comeback process. He said, "If you want to record our suffering for the sake of content, you'll get a still video. Because I won't talk," said one of the crew. This firm stance made the public start to reassociate with Bang Si-hyuk's previous emotional statements. Many began to ask, does Bang Si-hyuk actually disagree with the excessive pressure from the shareholders? Are his tears a symbol of regret for allowing the children he formed to become victims of the entertainment industry system? One Korean media analyst wrote that this was the worst and best moment in BTS history. Worst of all, because it opens a wound that has been closed tightly. Best of all, for the first time, the members showed that they are not robots ready to perform at any time, but humans who have limits. Now, in the midst of all doubt, there is hope. HYB's internal so. Los Angeles, 2:45 a.m. The city that never really sleeps is now a silent witness of what should have been a joyous celebration of the return of BTS, the world's biggest group, turned into a story of hurt, sincerity, and tears. And in the midst of it all stand two figures who are now more than idols for their fans, Kim Taehyung and Jungkook. After the furor about the plane video spread widely and left the public glued, not only the army responded, but also the international media, global celebrities, even some major American musicians who have worked with BTS before commented. Alicia Keys wrote on Twitter, "I don't know the full story, but love and empathy are louder than anything else. Healing vibes to Taehyung. Respect to Jungkook." Meanwhile, DJ and producer Steve Aoki reposted a photo of Taehyung with the caption, "Real friends don't leave each other behind. Jungkook, you're the definition of loyalty." In South Korea, media analysts began describing the incident as a turning point in Taehyung's relationship, not just in terms of fandom, but as public evidence of the depth of personal relationships they had built since adolescence, from the first days of rehearsals in the cramped dormitory of the old big hit. But there is one thing that is still not widely known to the public. How did the other BTS members react when the moment happened? An exclusive source from HYB LA's rehearsal room said that after the incident on the plane and the first session of Taehyung's health evaluation, the next day a closed-door meeting was held only for the 7 members and Bang Si-hyuk himself. The room was locked for almost 3 hours. Nothing came out. No sound. No signal. But a trust staffer who used to manage members' personal needs leaked a small but astonishing detail. In that room, for the first time in BTS history, all the members cried together. According to him, the genie began the conversation with a trembling voice and said, "If we lose just one person, there will be no more BTS. I don't care about the album. I don't care about the comeback. I only care about you all being alive and whole." RM, usually the most rational, reportedly held Taehyung's hand and said softly, "We never really take a break, do we?" J-Hope, who is known to be the most cheerful, didn't say much, but continued to hold Jungkook's hand. Jimin, who hadn't been seen since, just looked straight at Taehyung and finally said, "I'm afraid of losing you." I'm even afraid to see you as too strong, because sometimes that strength is a sign that you are quietly enduring everything alone. But perhaps the most astonishing moment was when Bang Si-hyuk finally spoke. I see you as my children, and I raised you to love the world, but I forgot to teach the world to love you back. That sentence jolted everyone in the room. Tears flowed. Jungkook, who had been looking strong all this time, was silent, then got up from his chair and hugged Bang PD. One source said, it wasn't a hug between the artist and the CEO. It was like the embrace of a child who could finally cry in the arms of his own father. What does this mean for BTS going forward? First, their comeback schedule will undergo adjustments. The album, which was originally scheduled for release in March 2026, will now most likely be postponed to the end of April or May. Filming will be delayed by at least 2 weeks to allow Taehyung time to recover physically and emotionally. Secondly,